Whether you're leading for the first time, leading through change, or learning to lead all over again, this space is for you. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk from those who've led through challenges, adapted under pressure, and thrived in the face of change. Welcome to Command to Corporate, where leadership isn't just taught, it's lived. Let's get to work. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. How you doing, T?
Yes, I'm doing great. How you doing, Larry?
I'm hanging in there, man.
Yeah.
I'm,
All right.
I'm on the move. I'm still cranking out the gym stuff. I was there today, still knocking it out. So I'm all in. I'm about to kick it up a notch this week. You told me the one gap I do have is the cardio, so I'm
Oh
about to
yeah.
incorporate that in and get it going. So looking for the next iteration of my transformation and see how it goes.
Lean, mean, green machine, Larry.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, man. And
All right, I hear you.
yeah, so that's it. Then my
Well, good.
son helped him move this week, so he's coming back to the house to finish out his last, I guess, a year or so, last two semesters. Because after that, he'll
Yeah.
be most likely getting a job. He hopes to get a job out of state and move. So
Oh yeah, that what he told you?
that's what he said. That's what he said. He's going to either New York or Miami.
Ah,
Yeah.
or the
So
army.
yeah, no. No.
That's nice thing.
I think he could do it.
Yeah.
When I look at we've actually encountered people that we've known or associated with and their, you know, kids have tried and actually not made it. And
Mm.
though he may physically, people might play, oh, he's small, he's slim, but I said mentally, I think he could overcome that and make it. I think he would do all right. And my wife even said, once he finished school, why not go? Get that experience going as an officer. So,
Yeah.
I think it's still on the table. We'll see.
And so everybody knows. So your wife was also military.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard
So
that.
for
Yeah.
those that don't know, yeah, she is prior military as well. So to have two prior military parents is probably not easy for him.
No, his rebellion, straight up rebellion, right? Like, nah,
Yeah.
both parents went. I'm not
And then
going.
you add then she got a little bit of seasoning on her because she's from the islands, so it's even worse for him. Oh
Oh,
man.
man.
All right.
Well,
So
good.
how about you?
Happy,
How's
brother.
everything going this weekend though?
It's going, man. Battery's running low, but gotta fake it to make it, brother.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all
we
good.
about to hit the ground running tomorrow. So
Yes, sir.
definitely got to fake it to make it. All right, so we're picking it back up on part two. We started last session,
Mhm.
our last episode on office politics, and so definitely had a lot to cover. And so we're jumping back into it this week, and hopefully wrapping up this convo. But we'll jump into it. So, how do you manage egos and competing priorities across functional teams?
What do you think?
So I think the managing egos, and I have
Uh-huh.
seen this, is I would separate the two. So I wouldn't say managing egos, and then another one would be how do you manage competing priorities. So the egos is tough
Mm.
because you can have competing priorities, but if you take egos out of it and say how do you manage competing priorities, it's like okay, well, if it's
That's true.
delivery date,
Yeah.
or do they have to run simultaneously? Do you have to reallocate resources?
Mm.
All of those things to make it happen. Because if it's cross functionally and we have transparency through like a grant chart or some kind of task list and saying, hey, these both have to deliver at the same time, well, then do you take stuff off of someone's plate? Off multiple people's plate because basically your priorities are going like this and have to converge at some point and they have to
Mhm.
be there at the same time. We have to make sure that gets done. So it's
Mm.
like quick response. Okay, what are you doing? You're on it. Drop those priorities. I need someone else to pick those up and keep them moving. There you go. So I think that's one on the competing priorities across teams. But egos, I think going back to, I think it just makes it very difficult when, for example, I've known of a leader somewhat higher up, definitely had a big ego, showed up late to meetings, didn't care if they were late, make everyone start over. and I'm talking 15 minutes deep into a meeting, show
Really?
up late and say, "Well, it is I. I am here now. Start over."
Bro, that's
And
just
it's
a jerk.
yeah, and it'd be a routine thing. And then when it's been raised,
Yeah.
it's just like, well, I'm not changing because
Mm,
I'm me. I'm not changing. Or you're off to a meeting, you get sidetracked in a conversation that you want to have, and everyone's already like, well, they're waiting on you. But it's just like, well, it's me. And so what? Or you bypass processes and all of these things because it's me, because I am who I am. I can do what I want to do. And there's no one to say to check them. So it's
mm,
no one to say, there's no place for egos here. You need to drop it. I don't want to hear about this. That would be higher up. But guess what? If they're delivering, if it's like, if that person is also the one that has egos as well, says, I
yeah.
like your style, keep on moving the way you're moving, it is what it is. So then the
Yeah.
byproduct of that is people like, well, I'm not dealing with this. And
Mhm.
you start to see people exit, look for other places to go. So I think managing egos is tough because that's where a higher up leader or there's some kind of escalation path to help check that person and bring them down to having to be a little bit more humble. But for some reason, in their however they've come up, whoever they've watched leadership they're emulating, they're like, I've made it and I'm gonna let everyone know that I'm the boss. I'm all that. I can do what I want to do.
So that's interesting. You're looking at it up. So we like egos, high egos from leadership. I was thinking about it more down,
Okay.
subordinate.
So
But it's interesting.
how would you
So
what
like
is your take on it then, looking at subordinates?
it's just kind of no, I'm just kind of reflecting in general now. And I think, it's kind of one thing to be confident because like you're doing a good job, and then another to be cocky, you
Yes.
know? And so you're like, oh, I'm hot shit, whatever.
Mhm.
Nobody likes that. Everybody
No.
loves confidence. And everybody loves confidence with some humbleness. But I
Yes.
think once ego, I mean, once like you become cocky, then that's just like it's you lose respect very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so like you typically see that on a team, of a high performer. Like sometimes you have like a superstar on your team and they're performing like really great. They're my go-to person. And they're good, they get confident, when you tell them they're a good job, that has that may push them to cockiness, let's admit, let's be honest. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But as a leader, I think it's your responsibility to kind of rein them back, pull them
Yes.
back in,
Yeah.
and what does that look like? Like cocky people tend to control the discussion in meetings.
Mhm.
And so like I had to bring people back of like, all right, I get it. Like, good point. Let's hear what others have to say. You kind of, as a leader, you have to control the narrative a little bit of a meeting and how it's flowing.
Yeah.
Having one person dominate the conversation is not great. It just brings morale down because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, T just listens to this guy or gal, you
Yeah.
know? And so now this person's confidence will, in their eyes, turn to cockiness and, oh, this guy thinks he's better than us or whatever. So I
Yeah.
think it's controlling how much they dominate the meeting, for example. Um, if they step out of line, like you really have to come down on like, not unprofessional, obviously, but you have to stop him. He's like, hey, I get your point. Let's hear what others have to say, and it's simple as that and direct. Address it as it comes up. Um, but I can't think of anything else right now, but that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind, trying to control um how people interact
Yeah, because I
with the
think
team.
I think with the subordinates, with
Mm,
a good leader, he'd be like, "Hey, yeah, you did good in that meeting, but there are other people in the meeting. Let's give other people a chance to talk. It's not all about you. It's not the me show. So
yeah,
let's dial that back, and then we'll be
yeah.
spot on. You speak, don't talk over people. But I do see, I've experienced and heard of where people are like they just dominate. They talk
Mhm.
over other people. It's like, let me show you how much I know. Let me keep
Yes.
talking. It's all about me. Let me.
Yes.
But then if
Spotlight Ranger.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Spotlight Ranger.
Yeah.
And if it's just like, my gosh, it's like, come on. Like it's and I think this is where I remember facilitating a group. And because I was
Mhm.
military, this it was amongst doctors and different medical personnel. And so they said, hey, you do really good at facilitating and you don't
Uh.
mind cutting people off when their time is up. Please facilitate this mission because this meeting because people will just keep going on and on and on. And I'm like, no problem, I can do
Yeah.
that. I'll take it. And so I remember this doctor was talking, and I was like, excuse me, your time is up. We need to move on. Sorry about that. She's like, are you serious? And I was like, absolutely, I'm serious. We need to move on. And it was like shocking. Like, I'm a doctor and you're stopping me. We have an agenda. You're running your mouth. We need to stop right now because it's like I'm giving you, I'm like giving you a warning too. Like, you got 5 minutes left. Like, I'm giving you cues. You're totally disregarding because you're one of those people that's, I want to run my mouth. Well, now you cut your time short. You should have got to the dang point.
That's a good point. That's tough,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
tough, and I I
Uh,
I love playing that role. I love playing the bad
yeah.
guy, so I don't mind it.
So I also think, I think you had a good point that you brought it up that I didn't really say it directly. I think when somebody's kind of cocky, I think it's important to kind of take them offline one on one and
Yes. Yeah.
tell them, coach them, like, hey, like, listen, like, I think you're great, you're doing a good job, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful not to be perceived as cocky or as a
Mhm.
know-it-all or a spotlight ranger. Um, and I think people would appreciate that because next time when you call them out in like in front of a group, they know like, oh, we already had discussion. Okay, he just reminded me, not to ostracize myself because that's honestly what people do. And I think once
Yeah.
you like let them know, people will see you negatively and you don't want that. And I don't want you to get that image. I think
Mhm.
then people would appreciate it when you stop them in the future. So yeah. Okay.
And I've had someone come up to me on numerous times where they've done the offline, but it's a peer, and they've said,
Mm.
"Hey, you're now crossing over into my lane. Do you mind staying in your lane?" Because you are
Bro, that's
like
tough.
trying to, yeah, because now you're trying to tell people what you know about my lane when I'm supposed to be putting out the information.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
feedback I gave was, yes, the one-on-one, like, hey, do you mind doing it? But guess what? They did it again. They keep doing it. It's like they want always the light to shine to be on them, that spotlight ranger. And so I said, give them another one-to-one and
Hmm.
say, this time, say, if you do it again, I will address it in the meeting. And I don't
Mm.
want to embarrass you or me. So how about you not do it? Like, I'm just respectively asking because that's the way, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. But then if it comes up again, you've already given the warning. Like, you're firing shots over the bow. Now it's like, okay, now I'm going to address in the meeting. You will be embarrassed, and I'm gonna just keep rolling. I'm gonna just, do you mind staying in, tactfully,
Yeah. That's
but
hard.
you're gonna do it. And then if you're
Yeah.
embarrassed and everyone's caught off guard, it's like, well, I told you to please stop doing this because everyone in the meeting hears what you're doing. You're talking. I go to speak, you just start talking, and you just run right over me.
Hmm.
And it's like, come on, you're playing, and it goes back to this ties into the office politics because you're wanting higher ups to say, see you, see my shine.
Oh,
You're trying to do it
yes.
for the light.
Yes.
You
Oh
want
my
that
gosh.
spotlight, and you're doing it so people think that you're resourceful and you know so much. And look at me,
Yes.
and it's like, come on, who cares? Like, and I think at a certain point, I'm like, at a certain first of all, it shouldn't happen, period. But to me, at a
Mm.
certain age, it's like, why are you doing this? Like,
Yeah, that's
you're already
true.
at a level where, what else do you want? Like, you just gotta have all the attention. What's
You
wrong with
know,
you?
and the part of really is really so bad about that, it's that they usually take the entire credit for whatever. you know, and they don't give any credit where credit is due. That's another factor, you know. Sure, you did this great thing, but you also had help from, you know, person A, person B, whatever. And then when you're not giving credit, then that's what people are like, oh yeah, I see right through that, you know, like that's BS.
Yeah.
Um, I think, you know, humbleness, you could take down that ego a little bit or that cockiness by being humble and say, yeah, you know, John or Jane helped me with this as well. And that's the only way I could have done it. You know, people see, I was like, oh, okay. Like he's giving credit, but obviously
Yeah.
he's taking his fair share as well.
Yeah.
But people just don't do that, I guess.
Yeah, and that rolls into what we're going to cover right
Mm,
next is the role of communication and keeping collaboration smooth and transparent. And that's some of the things we're hitting on is keeping that communication smooth, transparent, I'm sorry, open, to keep everything like just out on the table. And I think as long as we can do that and own our pieces in that, stay in our lanes in that, we'll be
yeah.
right. But I think as soon as people start to do side stuff and the shine and not stick to the game plan and all of
Mhm.
these kind of things, it's like just stick to the script. If something comes up and we got to derail and go off script, then stay in your lane. If we go off script, stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
Communication. No. I think it also goes back, man. You know, I've been drinking the Army Kool-Aid for way too long, I think, because everything to me is the leader's responsibility. You know,
It
like
is.
every answer seems like,
It always points up to someone in charge.
you know, but I think it
Because
also,
how would subordinates, especially if subordinates don't know and they're coming up, people new, or maybe people young
yeah.
coming up, or people that maybe that transition from the military environment into civilian environment. Maybe you have a little bit of cockiness or ego to me, maybe based on rank, whatever you did,
Mm.
your successes, whatever. But unless someone above you is there to say, because your peer can come in there and tell you something, and
Mhm.
you could just disregard it and go, well, you know what? I'm gonna do me. Okay, do you then? I gave you some words of wisdom. But
Yeah.
then I think a good leader that actually has good leadership abilities to say, you need to check that.
Yeah. I think also leaders that take ownership. I think that's maybe the critical thing I left out,
Mm.
you know, because leaders could also say, oh, he's always derailing the meeting, or she's always talking over people without actively like doing something about it, you know, like because there's people always pointing down. Like I don't know, I never understood that. Um, you know, because the first time I did that in the army, they're like, okay, you know,
Oh,
Lieutenant
they're gonna,
Gazal,
yeah, what's
what
wrong with
have you
you?
done about it? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
okay, why are you telling me this? This is your
It's straight
problem.
up, yeah, it's straight up your fault.
Yeah, you know, and it's like I was like, oh yeah, okay, you know, and it's once you understand that you own everything as a leader,
Yes, yes.
then it's like you are empowered to take action and make things better. You know, it's those leaders that see they don't have control or ownership of anything, or they deny or don't want ownership, is where they kind of those leaders fail and stumble a little bit.
But see,
So,
even like you bring up a great point. Like when you think about office politics and all of this
mm,
nonsense going on, the negative aspect of it, which we've been
mhm,
covering, and thinking about the role of the leader. And in the military, it's the leader's fault. Like
yes,
forget about what the people did. Yes, they can be written up, but at the end of the day, how did you as a leader allow this to happen? Why
hmm,
weren't you paying attention? How did they end up down this path in the first place? Where were you? You
yes,
can't say, well, so and so had a buddy. I'm talking about you. But in the
yeah,
civilian sector, can have leaders get away with saying, "Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't know.
yeah,
It was their fault. They did it.
yeah.
They didn't
It's
inform
so
me. They
crazy to
passed
me.
the buck." I mean, it's just sickening. It's just like, how do you do this? How do you just like, "Oh, it wasn't me. Oh,
Yeah.
they did it." To stay, make sure you stay in good grade. Own it. Own your department. Own your team. Stop
Yes.
saying they and start saying we. I will look into it. Take ownership.
Yes.
I'm a flip out, man. Let me
No, I
post
hear
up
you, brother.
real quick, man. I'm gonna have to get some stuff that I can just toss in here for no damn for real.
No, it's really frustrating. You're right. But it
Yeah.
was, as long as the leader takes ownership and kind of they're responsible for it, whether it's communication and ensuring everybody has information, ensuring there's no politics, ensuring there's equal voices heard, everything just really comes back to the leader.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
let me read this next one. So
Mhm.
when you sense office politics creeping in, how do
Mm.
you personally, or what you may be seeing, navigate it without compromising integrity or results? And how do you tactfully push back?
Whew, that's a lot.
I mean, to me, if I like my team, if I
Mhm.
see it, whatever I can, whatever's within my control. The only thing is in my control is my team and how they respond.
Mm.
So I'll say, we're going to still do our job. We're still going to hold our head high. We're going to stick to the facts. We're going to stick to process. It's not
Mhm.
people, it's process. Follow the process. That's it. Make sure our communication is very clear, concise. That's it.
So what do you mean by it's not people, it's process?
Because some people, I think office politics is not about people, it's not about process. It's
Uh,
about people in my mind. It's that's where it's like the he said, she said, the
mm,
getting the clicks because you're not clicking with the process, you're clicking
mm,
with people. You starting to do this, the backbiting and all of the side convo and all of this stuff, saying, you know what, we're not gonna operate like that. We're one team. We're
mm.
all here for the same thing. I don't want to hear that. We're gonna do what we did. Did they not put this out? Why aren't you following it? What's the problem? Well, I didn't. I was tired. This has nothing to do with anything. You follow it, you get it done. Stick to the process. If we need to revisit it, that's fine. But don't start talking about, well, I don't like how they talk to me in an email. No, what tone did they I don't hear anything coming out of the email. Did you go talk to them? Did you try to set up a
Yeah, there you
meeting and
go.
clarify? Or did you
Yep,
hide behind the emails?
yep,
Oh, I just hid behind the emails. Well, that's your
yep.
problem. Because let me tell you, I saw an email come through a while back with an employee I had and copied in on it something, and the person took it a tone, sensed a tone in the email. So I
Mm,
immediately jumped in and I said, let's not get into interpreting tones in emails. That's how we set ourselves up for failure. I
yeah.
said, let's have a meeting, let's talk about it, but let's not getting into even go down the path of understanding a tone in an email. Let's scratch that. Because if they didn't say
Taking
it,
ownership of the issue.
yes, if they didn't say it, I said, you think it came up again? It did not. No,
Mm.
let's check that. Let's not even go down that path of trying to interpret what a tone, Now, of course, I put it in all bold and all caps. That means I'm yelling at you. So that's different.
Oh,
But,
man.
that's where it's like the direct communication. But again,
Yeah,
it's tactfully
yeah.
like saying, like, hey, respectfully, let's not even go down that path.
I can't begin to tell you how many times my tone was misinterpreted with typically with like girlfriends. I don't know why. Like I always get in trouble with like people I'm dating.
See, I'm still getting in trouble for
It's like,
that
oh
shit.
man, it's so easy to misinterpret tone, and it's kind of crazy. Like you really have to proactively start thinking about, okay, how do I want to say this where it's not going to be taken the wrong way?
And
Sorry,
I
that's
mean,
just a random thing that came to mind.
but it's true, and I think sometimes like it could be a combination of where we came from. We're both from the East Coast. We
That's
both
true.
were in the military, so I'm sure our communication comes off very rough, and very direct at times because we just, it's just the upbringing. It's just so many pieces.
Yeah.
But then to remind people, like, especially people closer to you, like, hey, I don't mean it's just the way I talk. Like, I'm not trying to come off any kind of way, and if I come off like with a little bit more energy, that's all it is. Like a little bit more passion, as I would say. That's all it is.
Energy and passion. I gotta remember that.
Yeah, keep it, keep it.
Came across
It's
a
just
lot
my
of
energy and passion. That's it. I'm not pissed. If you want to
that.
hear piss, I can give you piss, but it's like that's not it. Because imagine if that was at work.
Oh,
Imagine if
hell
the
no.
corporate America was like the military,
Uh,
and you could just say
oh,
what the
man.
hell you want. It
No.
would just be, oh man, it would be chaos.
Oof. No, I mean, I've had my share of bad emails, like in the army, where like I've been put back in my place for
Mm.
sure. Yeah, so it wasn't fun, because I was talking up. It was
Oh,
to a full bird colonel, I think. But I didn't know, to be honest.
yeah.
I thought it was a civilian, but it turned out to be a full bird colonel somehow. And
Oh,
yeah, I was put back in my place really quick. But yeah, it goes to show you also, careful your tone,
yeah.
be careful what you say, and especially when you write anything down, just know people that were not intended to be an audience of that email are going to read that email.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some things aren't meant to go out in email. Some
Yeah.
things you do want to just go talk about face to face, and then
Yeah.
maybe recap a conversation after the fact. But let's
Yeah.
just talk one to one because sometimes that's all it needs. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't want to do that, don't want to make
No.
the time.
No.
And I think that's when those office politics start coming in and that negative aspect versus, and it could start with just misinterpreting email communication,
Yeah.
misinterpreting direct communication, not understanding that everyone's not going to deliver this nice, sweet package the way you want it every time.
Mm.
Because you like, I like it with, red bows and black ribbon and dots. And it's like, well, here's a freaking cardboard box. Same things in it. Same things in it.
Army issue.
Same shits in the box. Just open it. But it's like because you didn't
Yeah.
deliver it in the right package, it's like, well, I don't like it. And it's like, I think you just got to just learn to work with one another. Everyone's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, but at least you're aware of it. Like at least I'm
Yeah.
aware of it. So I'm trying to be proactive and like minding what I say and how I say it. And life has just gotten easier for me because I'm
Mm.
like I'm jumping on the Chat GPT bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yes, finally, right? So like I'll write an email and I'm like, hey, Chat GPT, make it sound better.
There you go. All
And I'm
right.
like, all right, this sounds so much better. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've directed uh, people that have worked for me previously to say, do that. Just
Hmm.
run it through there, say, soften it up for me. Definitely helpful. So if those out there that have not tried it and
Yeah.
you into those type of communications and stuff where you're having to reply to something, run it through there. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. And I think this leads into, can you lead effectively without playing into the politics? Or is some political savvy necessary at higher levels?
So let me just jump in real quick. So I think first of all, and I've mentioned this, last episode. I think office politics, is a game, right? It's rules, and you have to operate within those rules. My opinion,
Hmm.
um, in order to be successful, because these are the rules of the game. And if you're in a baseball game, you're trying to play basketball, it's not going to work. People are
True.
like, "What are you doing? Like, you're not even in this. Well, get out of here!" So I think that's first.
Yeah.
And so if those rules impact your character, your morals, and your principles, then I think that is where you have to draw the line. You say, I can't play with these rules. They go against who I am. They go
Yeah.
against my principles and morals. Then I think you just leave. Like honestly, as simple as that for me, it doesn't get any simpler. I'm like, no, like this is your. I'm fundamentally changing as a person in order to play by these rules, these office politics rules, And there's only so much I'm willing to bend before I'm like, nah, like this isn't me.
True.
You're asking me to be a whole totally different person, and I'm not going to do it. And so I just want to put that out there for a lot of people because I know somebody who was struggling with that, did not like the rules. Um, and they were just kind of getting depressed with it, honestly. They're like, because they're not playing by the rules, they always thought that, oh, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired,
Yeah.
And so there's that fear that they have. And so they take that stress and they take it home, and it lasts over the weekend. And then they come back, and then they realize like this is not for them, and they can't play by the rules. I'm like, bro, just this is not for you.
And if
It's
I could
okay to
plug
leave.
in, it is a
Yeah.
real thing because if you don't play by the rules, you can get fired. That is
Yeah.
a real thing. I've been down that path.
Hmm.
I'm not one to change who I am, sacrifice my integrity, or anything like that to play any kind of game. I'm not doing it. So if that leads to me like, well, hey, you're out, then I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that's just the bottom line. I'm out. And to your point, if someone's not happy with it, and I know for some, you can't to say leave. Leave as in start looking for that next job. Start looking for that
Yeah.
next opportunity. If you can't just up and leave, but you start looking, because it's like, and you take those lessons to the
Hmm.
next place. When you're
Hmm.
interviewing, you
Yes.
ask those strategic questions to
Yes.
understand, which people can blow smoke. Be like, oh no, everything is this is like Care Bears here. We love each other, and it's like everybody loves everybody.
Everybody's just lying to everybody in an interview.
Yeah,
Let's get out there.
yeah. So you got to learn how to ask and read those emotions and
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
expressions. If you get to talk to team members and say, okay,
Hmm.
well, give me the skinny, like what's really going down.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you can connect with someone via LinkedIn
Hmm.
prior and like
Yep.
even have a little coffee chat,
Yep.
then get the real deal. Take it a step further, but yeah, don't sell your soul for the sake of which some will do.
Hmm.
Let's not. Now you got the people that'll say, "I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity and who I am for
Hmm.
this. I'm out." And you got others be like, "Hey, how much? Take what you want. I'm gonna sell it all." Until it catches up with them, because that eventually catch up with them. I think it catches up with everybody.
So Meta, Facebook.
Yeah.
So I guess they're hiring, well, poaching really, um, AI scientists and whatever personnel from other companies.
Mm.
$100 million
Allegedly,
contracts,
allegedly, allegedly.
something. So I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
allegedly poaching. Yeah, I'm just I'm just parroting what I've heard on like other pods, right? All
Yeah.
right, but allegedly they're, they're hiring people from other for like 100 million over 3 years. Like,
$100 million over 3 years.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know, 100 million or a million. Maybe my mind is amplifying it worse than it
Note
is.
to
I don't
self:
know.
I need to get a certificate in AI. All right.
I want to say I heard 100 million over like 3 years. That's crazy. But with that, would you play by a new set of rules if that was the payout?
Ooh. Mm, mm. I don't. I guess it depends on the rules.
Yeah.
Because if it's a rules that's going to really have me become an actor, like a full on, I'm
Mm,
playing the villain in this new movie.
mm,
Um, I mean, can I do it? It's like, yeah, but do I want to do that? Like, especially for an extended period of time, because
mm,
you might say, like, look, at the end of 3 years, you're going to have $100 million, but at what cost?
mm,
And I think that's the tough thing. I mean, some people might say, without a doubt, heck yeah, I'll take it. I'll do whatever you want, but I don't know. It's like if I'm going to be, when take this for example, when people said working, and people have openly said it on all kinds of podcasts and things, Steve Jobs was rough.
yeah.
It's an asshole, cuss you out.
Mm,
I'm not coming into a meeting and you going to do that all the time to me without me saying something back. Because
mm,
eventually I'm gonna get pissed and I'm gonna say, yo, and I would probably try to do it offline. And if you're just gonna be like, I don't, and yell and scream and all this, oh, I'm out. I'm not dealing with that. And if that's what potentially could come with that kind of money,
mm,
oh, you're not gonna be cussing me out in public, like in meetings or just any old kind of way, or like talk over them, just everything that we've said, the negative aspects of, and I have to do all of that. I'm not doing it. It
Wow.
would be
Yeah.
too much. It's like
Yeah.
I can't. I don't think I could endure that and build that kind of reputation because when it's all said
That's
and done, I
true.
have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So unless that money has set me up and I don't have to deal with anybody, but the world is small. When it starts to get into business and stuff and you get higher up, it becomes very small. And your name can get around, and next thing you know, no one wants to deal with you. You know, you're like tainted meat. That doesn't look quite right. I don't think I'm gonna eat that.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of also like once you accept that job, it'd be difficult to leave it.
Yeah.
They call it like the golden handcuffs. And
Yeah.
I've talked and I've worked with many others in
Yeah.
other companies who were, yeah, they honestly would not get as much money at another company if
Oh
they
yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So they were stuck and they felt stuck,
Yeah.
and they were miserable in that job. But like, you get yourself in financial situations where you just can't leave, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but
That
this is
sucks.
where, yeah, that's a whole different conversation right there.
Yeah.
But I think on the aspect of some political savvy necessary at higher levels. So I
Mm,
think on that aspect, I like to be connected. I like to chat with people. I like for people to know of me, but I don't want any, and I like them to view me in a positive light.
mhm.
If I have an opportunity to. Like sometimes in organizations, it's too big to say you're going to reach. You might reach some senior level people, but to reach the top, never going to happen. You probably see
Right.
that person one time, maybe on TV,
Yeah.
but when for any level, however your hierarchy is in your organization, the structure, if you can, I mean, I think it's not bad to be able to say, senior director or SVP, vice president, whatever, and have an opportunity to, say hi and, to an extent. But I'm not of one to want people to do something for me. Like I don't want, any kind of favors. Like, I don't want to use that kind of relationship to then benefit from that. I wouldn't
Mm,
really in an aspect like unless they said like, hey, I think you would be a right fit for this new something. That's different. But I
right. Or to
wouldn't
say,
want
hey, Larry, what do you think of this? Or what can I do for
yeah,
you, Larry? Yeah.
yeah. But I wouldn't want to use that power, so to speak, to gain for personal gain. That's what I would not want. I wouldn't do that.
A lot of people would disagree with you. A
Yeah,
lot of
I
people
would
would say maybe that's kind of one of the reasons why you would, try to get good with the higher ups.
I'm not gonna ask for that. I
Mm,
wouldn't. They
mm,
can now if they offer something,
yeah.
and it depends. Like if they offer and say, "Hey, I think you would be a good fit to lead this department," and what I've learned about you, what I know, I think you're a good fit. I want to move you here. That happens in the military. That's fine
Yeah.
with that. I
True.
could say okay because I'm used to that happening. I want you here based on your experience. You should be here to lead this. Go and do it. Now, if it's a directive, okay, you didn't ask me. I'm going forth. All right, I'm gonna do this, but I'm
Mm,
not gonna say, hey, we've been chatting, having drinks. You think you could hook me up with? I'm not doing that.
mm. That's pretty good.
T,
I
are
don't.
you objecting? Are you saying that you would?
No, I mean, like, honestly, I am not starstruck.
Oh,
Like,
for
I
real? No.
think I think that's part of me,
Mhm.
where I just like people ask me like when I'm dating, right?
Yeah,
They'll ask me like, you know, what's an actress that like you think is totally like hot or awesome or you want to meet? And I'm like, I don't think there's anybody, honestly, Like I'm not one person to be starstruck with people,
mhm,
regardless of their position, power, or whatever.
yeah,
And I am more interested in talking to those people
yes,
than being awe of them. I was like, oh, like I respect how they got there and what they're doing.
yeah,
Um, but like I don't fanboy, I guess if that's a word,
yeah, 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 for real, yeah,
over it.
yeah.
So like to me, it doesn't matter. I'm more interested in learning about like, man, like what did it take to get to that
That,
point?
yeah, that part,
You
I agree
know?
with you.
And like, what are the struggles you have, at
Yes.
this
Yeah.
level?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I could agree with all of that.
but like I've always been, raised in my, from upbringing as a child into the army, of course, everything's kind of merit based, right? So
Yes.
let me prove myself to you, and
Yep.
then, you decide,
Yeah.
what I'm worth. But to be honest, this maybe the civilian world is not necessarily those may not be the rules, you know,
It may
because it
not.
is, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
about who you know sometimes.
I think a lot of moving internally in companies, even getting jobs at this point
Mm,
for people looking to get into companies, it's
mm,
a lot of it is boiling down to who you know.
yeah.
And it it can be a good thing and a bad thing. Good
Hmm.
thing for the person that has to connect and can get
Hmm.
in.
Hmm.
Bad thing for those that see a connection get in, depending, from those
Oh yeah.
inside, because they're
Yes.
like, "Oh, you just got hooked up because you
Yes.
knew so and so," and it's not like this is anything new. This has been
Yeah.
happening for who knows how many years, where it's like some new person comes in and they replace people with their people, and they
Yeah.
but to understand when you're trying to build or sustain a culture, which we've
Mm.
talked about,
Hmm.
what kind of effect is that going to have on that?
Oh yeah.
And if you start to see people exiting, like, this is BS, I've been, working to get this promotion, I've worked hard, I've done all this stuff, and then you just bring
It's
somebody in and they
rough.
take,
Yeah.
and then it's like, so what have I been doing? And it's for someone that's in a higher level and be like, well, I don't know you, but I know them. But you didn't even give them a chance. You didn't even
Yeah. It sounds like it's his problem or her
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you didn't even give them a chance. You just like off the bat, Imma dismiss you just because I don't almost like I don't want to get to know you. I don't
Mm.
want to allow you time to showcase your experience or whatever. Even though we're in this promotion window right now, I'm not gonna promote you because I don't know you. Even though you've been waiting 2 years and this was the window to get you promoted, I'm not gonna do it because I don't know you. It's like, what does any of that have to matter? What does that matter?
So then if you know you have a boss like that, then maybe you should kind of, nobody's gonna talk highly of you more than you,
Yes.
So maybe that's a scenario where you kind of have to like, make sure people know that, some of the great things that are happening were partly because of you.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess you just have to strike a balance and not become like cocky when you do that, but more of professional humbleness. Yeah.
But I guess it's when
Okay.
those leaders don't want to give you that opportunity. Because if they're new, and I'm talking about if they're new,
Mm.
they have to be receptive. And
Oh
they
yeah,
used to
absolutely.
say, "Hey, tell me about the people we have on the team."
Yeah.
That's
Or
where
get to know them. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Get to know them. But
Yeah.
and off the bat, it's like, "Oh, how many openings do we have?" Yeah, but I want to teach, we got these new people. Look, I don't want to hear about this. So how many openings do we have? Okay, I got these people I know. I'm filling with this. Hey, but I want to show you, talk to you. Like, can you come meet the team? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll do that later. I need to go ahead and get these posted because I want, like, you're not even giving them a time of day.
Mm.
You're like, my focus is I'm in. Let me get these people in. Then I'll worry about that. And it's like, well, now that's where an aspect of the negative, I guess, portion, and I guess it depends on how you view it. Internally, it's negative because you're bringing in people from outside. Outside, they're like, hey, I use a connect. I got in the job. So
Yeah.
it's positive on their side. So it's
True.
like,
I never
it's
saw
just
that. I never thought about that. That's a good
yeah,
point.
and
Yeah.
but then just the effect of bringing that in, and just all of this stuff that we've been talking about over these two episodes, um, just the aspect of it on office politics, on the culture, on people, everything is just and there is a positive side,
Mm.
but I think so many times the negative overtakes the positive, and
True.
it's just when you hear office politics and immediately it's negative when there is an actual positive side to it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to see the positive though.
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess to our viewers then,
Mm.
question back to you. What advice would you give to new leaders managing teams and navigating office politics? You know, how they're going to go about that? And what has been your experience with office politics? So we definitely want to hear from you. We want those comments. Drop them in. We don't see too many comments popping in yet. I mean, I know we're kind of new, but if we could get a couple of them, will try to address them on one of these episodes. So don't be shy. You know, because I know the comments out there. I talk to people offline, and they're like, "Oh, blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah blah." Drop it in there, so we can
yeah,
give you some, so we can go back and forth. And who knows, we maybe even invite you on the podcast. You never know.
that's a good
You
point. Yeah,
never know.
and if you have a topic, a follow-on topic, yeah, would love to hear it as well. So, yeah,
All right, then we'll call it then. Appreciate everyone tuning
cool.
in.
Thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, Larry.
All right, man. Catch you next time.